Homelessness is worsening over time.
If you don't have a home, you really can't focus on other parts of your life.
Our children are our future because we are the present.
You're one really bad day away from being homeless.
Folks that you walk past on the street, they're somebody's family member.
Housing, education, people. Those are game changers. We have the money, the intellect, the passion. We can do this.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Bells I Hear podcast. My name is Alisa Smith and I am delighted to host a conversation with the Brooklyn Borough President, Antonio Reynoso. Today we will talk about his personal journey and his vision for Brooklyn. Borough President Reynoso was raised in Las Olas, Williamsburg. He became the youngest person to be elected Borough President, and he is also the first Latino and Dominican to hold that office. Since taking office, he has supported several initiatives aimed at improving the lives of Brooklyn residents, from promoting maternal health to partnering with faith leaders to provide supportive housing for those experiencing housing insecurity. He recently released a 2025 plan that focuses on addressing inequities in the borough through policy priorities that ensure every Brooklynite is healthy, housed, and supported. With so much to talk about, let's get started. Hello, and thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Las Olas?
Yeah, so Los Olas is a great neighborhood, but I grew up in Williamsburg in the 1980s and 90s, which was a lot different than Williamsburg now. We had, about 200 murders a year in the 80s and 90s in the 90th precinct. There were a lot of gangs, a lot of violence, a lot of shootings. Poverty was extreme during those times, and also drug use was a big deal. We really had to deal with a lot of societal ills in Williamsburg during that time. But my parents were always focused on education and made sure that was a central part of my life and my foundation, and really gave me a shot to come from that environment and still be successful. But growing up in Los Olas was also a place where I knew who the owner of the bodega was. I can go into a restaurant and get a meal for free, and my parents could pay it later. If my parents are not home and I get home from school, I can stay over a neighbor's house. So it's just a very amazing neighborhood and environment that I was surrounded by. And I think New York was in a different time, obviously. So I really didn't feel, 200 murders. I didn't feel the negativity. I always felt safe and always felt like I was in a great neighborhood. Even though we were surrounded by poverty, it's all I ever knew. And everyone else was in the same environment. So it was to me, it was an amazing experience to grow up in the south side of Williamsburg.
And how did that upbringing shape who you are today, your path, and your vision for Brooklyn?
Yeah, so for a long time, I didn't think it would or did. It wasn't until I got to college that I noticed that a lot of the circumstances by which I grew up were definitive life experiences that affected my ability to progress and to grow. I was on welfare, I was on food stamps, I was on Section 8. There wasn't a government subsidy that existed in my time that we didn't have to take advantage of to be successful. But I was successful. I was growing. I got a lot of opportunity, and with that opportunity, I was able to become the first borough president, Dominican Borough President, one of the youngest borough presidents. And I believe through that, I understood the value of these opportunities that were given to me by the federal government, by the state, and by the city. So I became an elected official that thought that if we give other people the same opportunities I had, we make sure that they have food in their stomach, a roof over their head, that would make it so that they have an opportunity to be successful the way I was. That it wasn't luck that got me here. It was the opportunities afforded to me by the government that assisted me. So when I got in, I got in knowing that government could do things for people, that government could be good for people, and I wanted to make sure I could pay it forward and give the same opportunities I had to folks in the future. So it shaped my career. It shaped what I wanted to do as an elected official.
And your initiatives. So it sounds to me like that was really instrumental or influential in these initiatives, from maternal health to digital equity, to divine dwellings, which I really want to talk about. Why do you think those are essential? Those seem to be front and center for you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and what it means, and what do you think it means for the families of Brooklyn?
So yeah, what I want to do is make sure that we're making a meaningful impact in people's lives. And the issue that we come to with government all too often is that people don't feel the impact of government. They think government is actually fading them, and that we have too many elected officials that are okay with just keeping things how they are versus helping people make progress. So when I look at inequities, which is the focus of how I do my work, is equity. We look for the grossest equity that exists in our borough, and maternal health is one of those. We're the most dangerous place in all of the city for a Black woman to have a baby, and I just thought that was completely unacceptable. The thing is that people that have tried to take this initiative on in the past work at the margins. They throw $1 million here, they throw $50,000 gift here, and we just said we don't want to move this 1%. We want to eliminate the inequities that exist. And the only way to do that is to go all in. So we gave our entire budget, capital budget, to our 3 public hospitals in Brooklyn so that they can build state-of-the-art facilities for women's health. And we're hoping that the infrastructure will never be an issue as to why Black women would die during childbirth. We have other things we're doing with education and relationships with schools that are helping us build a better system of maternal care for birthing people here in Brooklyn.
Tell us about how that initiative with maternal health has changed real world issues, like a story of someone who really benefited by that initiative.
No, so look, right now, being perfectly transparent and honest, I allocated that money year 1, and I'm into year 4 of my time here, and all we've done is groundbreakings for the infrastructure. So none of the infrastructure has actually been built, and it's another issue where the general public just doesn't have confidence in government's ability to get things done. There's no reason why it should have taken 4 years for us to start groundbreaking. In 4 years, we should have been able to see the new facilities. The parts that are working right now is we have baby showers that we're doing for local community. Right now, we have a lot of birthing people that don't have family, that have come here from other states. And we wanted to show that Brooklyn is their community, that we would help them through that process. It makes it so that when the baby is born, maybe you don't worry as much about diapers because we helped you with that, or wipes, or a bag or something. Like those resources you shouldn't have to worry about. We'll help take care of that, and we'll be the village because mental health and depression and anxiety are one of the main causes of deaths among new mothers. So we wanted to solve for things like that. So that we're starting to see some movement, but until the infrastructure is not built, we're going to have a hard time gathering data to see the effectiveness of the initiative that we put forth.
Yeah. I mean, so many of these things are interconnected. You're also working with faith leaders. So tell me about that. How did that partnership begin, and what's happening there?
So obviously we are in a housing crisis here in New York City. And I believe a big reason for that is we have a supply problem. There are many neighborhoods in Brooklyn that do absolutely nothing when it comes to contributing to housing growth in our borough. There are some neighborhoods that haven't built any new housing since 1968. So we have so many people moving into New York that want to be here and they don't have opportunities. So what ends up happening is gentrification kicks in. We have people with more money kicking out people that have been here long term because there's a supply need. Those new people that are moving in, because they have more money, are going to find housing. The people that end up losing is always the people that are in more affordable housing or in situations where there's like rent stabilization. So we want to build more housing. And churches in Brooklyn, we are the borough of churches. We have so many churches and they have so much property. And we always thought that there was an opportunity to match the two, give them an opportunity to build long-term sustainability for their congregation and themselves while also developing affordable housing. So we've been working on this initiative called Divine Dwellings, where we met with pastors who have huge parking lots, and we're looking to build housing in those sites. Traditionally, when the churches get involved in trying to build housing, they get bamboozled, they don't know the process, it's very complicated, and they end up giving all of their property and all of their assets to a private developer with very little in return. We protect against that. We allow them to own their property, to build their property, to make sure that if congregate members want to be inside those sites, they get that opportunity. So we've been doing that. We brought in 10 pastors in 10 churches. Right now, it looks like 3 of those churches might see an apartment come up in the next couple of years. So we're really excited about that initiative and allowing for them to be a part of the growth of the borough.
I mean, it sounds like you're planting all of these seeds, and it's fantastic. You also have had an initiative regarding digital equity and helping access there as well. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the thing here with the seed planting is that in Borough Hall for a long time, in the position of borough president, has been a very ceremonial one. We do a good job at flag raising, at throwing Independence Days, and what we don't do well is actual work that affects people's lives. So I really wanted to be the borough president that did initiatives that are going to be material that you can touch. And the divine dwellings and the maternal health work is a part of that. When it comes to the digital divide, what we have is obviously poverty making it so that many people that are growing up in this education system are in a position where they're playing catch up when they get to school. And now writing in cursive is not more important than learning how to type. And those are the type of things that we want to make sure that we get out to all of our young people in the city. So we have initiatives where we give millions of dollars to our local schools for technology upgrades, and from new computers, also laptops, but we're also working with senior centers and making sure that our older generation is also getting savvy with tech because it can improve their lives. So that's also an initiative that we're doing, and we're going to be able to get data on all of this stuff once we start seeing the actual infrastructure gets built. But like you said, we're planting seeds so that people's lives can be improved in the time that I've been a borough president here in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and that's where you have to start. So, well, one last question is, how can people help? How can people who are interested in saying, we hear these messages and we support these messages and we want to help plant those seeds? How do people get involved, and how do they really help in ways that will be meaningful?
The first thing they need to do is go on our website. I know a lot of people feel like websites are a place where requests go to die or something of that nature, but it isn't, not in Borough Hall. In Brooklyn, we have a volunteer list, and we get folks involved all the time, but also in our initiatives. They can volunteer for maternal health, for divine dwellings, for affordable housing, food insecurity. We have so many initiatives that we're taking on, and we need all the help we can get. So if you want to get involved, you can start with volunteering. But look at our comprehensive plan. Everything we're doing is through our comprehensive plan. What we're trying to do in Borough Hall is build opportunity. We have neighborhoods that have good parks, good schools, good jobs, good housing, and we're seeing people thrive in those areas. In the places that don't have that, they don't. So we're trying to build equity, spend a lot of our funding to build better parks, to build better transportation options, to assist those local schools. So if you're in the business of looking through data, go ahead, go into our comprehensive plan, read it over, tell us what you think. We have comment opportunities and again, volunteer opportunities. And if you want to think creatively about something that you can do related to the comprehensive plan, we're always open. But our website is our number one location for engagement.
Wonderful, wonderful. So is there any last words that you want to end this podcast with? Any future messages or anything that I haven't touched on that you think is important?
Yeah, I really want to emphasize that the comprehensive plan is so important. This city is one of the few large cities in the world that doesn't have a comprehensive plan. And what happens is that this city wakes up every single day, and every day determines what it's going to do. And we can't build for the future that way. If we want to build more housing, we need to make sure the sewers are okay, that we have enough schools, that we have great parks. The city doesn't do that. It just builds, and builds, and it doesn't plan. So I'm really trying to get folks, I know it's a very nerdy subject, and we are nerds in Borough Hall. It's a very nerdy subject, but comprehensive planning, being thoughtful about these things, are things we want to make sure we bring to the general public. So please look into the comprehensive planning in Brooklyn. And I just want to say thank you. And I always end things by saying, spread love is the Brooklyn way. Everything we're doing is trying to spread love. How can we help people? How can we lift people up? And I hope that in our 4 years, we've done that. And in the next 4 years, we can show results on a lot of the seeds that we planted last term.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Delighted to spend this time with you. Thank you for making time in your busy schedule to meet with me. And hopefully we'll talk again soon, and we'll see some of the sprouting of these seeds.
Yes, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode, produced by Baron Mello. The audio and video editing was done by Ilona Tuominen, and the music is courtesy of Diego Urquela. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to The Bells I Hear and follow us on social media at The Bells I Hear to find more content and to spread the word. Thanks again. Till next time.